All right, so if you have some ball pythons, maybe you have a few of them, or maybe you have a few dozen, or maybe you're on a scale like I am to where I can have up to 150 ball pythons in this reptile room, you're always looking for the perfect substrate. And I kind of keep going back and forth between different substrates, and pretty much I've landed on a coconut husk chip. And I pretty much started with paper, and then I went to shredded aspen. And the paper, it seems like you're always, chasing the snake pee all over the place. You're always chasing the dirty tubs, and it's a lot more work. It's probably the cheapest option, though, if you can go with a paper substrate. Some people use paper towels. Some people use like an unprinted newspaper. And actually, that's what I started with, because when I first started in ball pythons, I had some mites. I had a problem with mites, and they were all through my collection. I pretty much started with paper just so I could see the mites, and then when I finished, I got a handle on the mites, finally got rid of them, I moved over to shredded aspen. And shredded aspen, let me tell you, it's pretty economical, but it doesn't really pack down, which I don't really like. It kind of fluffs up, and probably the biggest thing is it really gets in the mouth of the snake when you're feeding rodents. That's probably the biggest objection I had with shredded aspen, and it doesn't really hold moisture very well. And if you put a lot of moisture in it, it tends to mold. So then from there, I pretty much went to a bunch of different types of coconut husk products. And there are some that's kind of like a shredded, like a stringy coconut husk. Seemed like it was the cheapest option. The problem if it has the strings in there, it doesn't really hold the moisture like the chips. And then I've also seen people use like an Eco Earth kind of a substrate. The problem with that is it's really messy. It gets all over the place. The good thing with Eco Earth, though, is if the snake gets it in its mouth, you don't really have to worry about ingestion of the Eco Earth, because it's kind of like dirt. That's probably the biggest pro, and it holds moisture really well. The only problem is it just kind of gets all over the place. So then I decided to go to like a coconut chip, a coconut husk chip. And what it is they take the coconut husks and they chip them into the bigger chips. And I really like that. I've tried quite a few different products, and I kind of went back and forth between ReptiChip and Pro Coco. Pretty much the #1 products is that I can find as far as like a coconut husk chip. And the problem is if you go on Amazon and you buy these products, it'll cost you like $25 a block. And let me tell you, if you're doing a whole bunch of blocks, if I do 10 blocks, that's like $250 just for 10 blocks. So on my level, it's not really practical. If you just have 1 or 2 snakes, it might be practical just to go to Amazon or eBay and buy just a couple blocks at a time. And if it lasts you for a long time, then it might be worth it. And I decided pretty much to go with the coconut husk chip, and I wanted to buy it by the pallet. And the problem is with ReptiChip, I don't really want to point out names and kind of, I'm not really sponsored by anyone, so I'm not really doing this as far as trying to promote anybody's product. This is just from my experience. And I actually called ReptiChip and I said, hey, I want to get a pallet of the ReptiChip. And they said, well, you have to be the distributor, and there's only 1 distributor per state, and you have to commit to having so many pallets shipped to your facility per month. Which is, I thought it was pretty crazy. It's like, I don't really want that much coconut husk chip. I just want 1 pallet to last me, 6 months, 8 months. It could even last up to a year, the rate that I go through it. And I could sell it, I sell a little bit on the side, but I'm not really into the retail market. I don't really have a store. I just kind of do this out of my basement, maybe sell a few blocks of coconut husk chip at the shows, but I'm not really pushing it like I do my ball pythons. It's pretty much, my ball python hatchling are my main product for my reptile business. So then I called Pro Coco, and they said, actually, you can buy 1 pallet. As a matter of fact, you can buy half a pallet, which is 105 blocks. And I thought, yeah, that's perfect. You have no commitment, and you buy 105 blocks, and it costs you about $1,000, which is quite a bit of money to come up with if you're first getting into ball pythons. But keep in mind, that's pretty much $10 a block instead of 25. So now if I go through 10 blocks, instead of costing me $250, it's only going to cost me $100, which is you know, pretty awesome. Especially on my level, I go through a lot of coconut husk chip, and it's not really practical to buy individual blocks. So today I actually am going to pick up a half a pallet of coconut husk blocks from Pro Coco. And the interesting thing is I sent them an email and I said, yeah, I want another half pallet of coconut, the coconut husk chips. And they said, oh yeah, we'll just put it, we'll get it on the road and send it out and we'll bill you later. I'm like, what do you mean bill me later? That's, you know, I've never seen anyone ship you $1,000 worth of product and you're not even paying for it. And you know, they know that I'm good for paying for that product, which I thought was pretty awesome. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna jump in my truck. I'm gonna head down to the distribution facility, and actually if they shipped it to my house, it was another $150 on top of the shipping because they needed a special truck with a lift gate and everything. And if I pick it up at the distribution center, it actually saves me $150. It's about an hour away, so you know, you figure, you know, $150 for 2 hours of driving, that's definitely worth it. So I'm gonna definitely drive down there today, and I'm gonna pick up that half a pallet of coconut husk chips and check it out. It'll be interesting to see what the distribution center looks like. I've never been there before, so let's hit the road and check that out. All right, take a look at this. This is the distribution center. I don't think I've ever been to a place with so many trucks. It's pretty incredible. It's a really big place. Tons and tons and tons of semis and trucks and whatnot. It's pretty incredible. And I'm just waiting for the forklift guy. Here's my truck. All right. I'm taking a video for my YouTube channel. So that is what half a pallet looks like. So take a look at this. I got almost all the way home and I went around the corner and I lost a couple blocks. Apparently it wasn't very well secured. A couple blocks in the street. Oh my. All right, so I made it home somewhat safe and sound. I lost a couple blocks on the highway, but other than that, looks like I got them all home. I just had those two that fell off, and it looks like I was kind of, what I did is I took the top layer off and I kind of put them all here. And when I was going through them, I noticed some were a lot thinner than others. Look at how thin this one is compared to this one. And I'm kind of curious to see if they all weigh the same. They're supposed to be all 10 pounds a piece. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna load them up into my garage on a wire shelf, and then I'm gonna pull out the biggest one and the smallest one and see if they actually all weigh 10 pounds. All right, so I have them here in the garage, kind of tucked with all my other junk in here. And I did a quick count, and this is actually 106. And I actually had 4 down here on the right from last time. I was down to 4, so this is actually those right there. And then over here, I kind of put aside some of the damaged ones. So I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 that are damaged. 2 that fell off the truck that got pretty bad, and then some of them, this one actually got some road rash. It fell off the truck and took a tumble. And the rest of these, I think they're just little bits from the pallet jack going in and out. They were along the bottoms and the edges. And so what I'm going to do, I always set these aside and use these first. For me, it's no big deal because I'm not reselling. And then I pulled 2 aside, a really thick one and a really thin one, and I'm going to weigh them and see if they're actually 10 pounds. I'm thinking thinking the bigger one probably absorbs some moisture, so it actually might be a little bit above 10 pounds. That's kind of what I'm guessing. All right, so here is the moment of truth. I have a skinny block and a fat block. This is the skinny one. Look at how skinny that is. I'll put it on here. See how much this block weighs. It looks like it is 9.9. Looking good, looking good. And then here is the thick one over here. And look at how thick the big one is. It's a super thick. It is a really thick block. And this one is 10 pounds. So 9.9 and 10 pounds, close enough. This one probably absorbed a little bit of water, and my balance probably isn't that accurate. All right, so there you have it. Now I have $1,000 worth of snake bedding. You know what I'll be doing for the next few days? I'll be going through all these racks, changing out all the substrate. That is a pretty big job. I do it pretty much once a month on a regular schedule. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of hatchling tubs that when I sold the hatchlings, I didn't actually take all the bedding out, so I need to go through all my hatchling tubs. I think there's like 100 tubs. I need to clean them out, sterilize them. I usually don't put the bedding in until right before I have new hatchlings. So when I get new hatchlings, I'll probably, break up one of the blocks. You soak them in water, they absorb water and expand, and then you break them up that way. So if you guys at Pro Coco are actually watching this video, I do have a suggestion. I would definitely do some better packing on that pallet of the blocks. And what I'd recommend is doing probably maybe 3 or 4 of the plastic bands to hold each level together. And then probably what I would recommend is doing like a cardboard outside of the blocks before you do the wrap, because if the pallet jack hits it, it'll hit the cardboard instead of opening some of the blocks. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.